Aloha and welcome. In this lesson, we're going to be talking about accounts. We're going to be talking about types and policies. So let's go ahead and jump into our text here. This is going to be section 2.10 on accounts, types, and policies. So an account policy you're probably familiar with or you've heard of. They define how a computer account should be created, used, maintained, disabled, and removed. When you're in an organization like the state, like I was, you'll have policies for everything. When is an account created? When is it removed? When is it disabled? We have different uses for each of those cases. So when you create an account, that's usually during onboarding. When you're bringing somebody on board your company, you disable it. Maybe if a person is going on leave, or maybe if that person has quit, but you need somebody like an administrator to actually access it. Then you have removal, which is going to remove all the space in the email that they had. So there's different policies that pertain to those, and they're usually well laid out at different organizations. So obviously, an account is protected by a password, and we have a number of policies that go with password properties. So the first one is going to be password complexity, and that's going to be how the type of things that go into creating a password, like the length, the character types, what you need to include there. And you've come across this when you sign up for things on the internet. And it says, hey, you need to have a capital letter in your password, or hey, you need to have a special character in your password, or it has to be greater than 6 characters long. So each one has like a min and a max number of characters that you can put in. And there's a great way to see how secure your passwords are. There's a site, security.org. You can go there to the how secure is my password. And once you're there, you can type in a password. So if we take a password, and let's just use password itself, password, which is amazingly one of the most hacked passwords out there. It says that your password be cracked instantly. They do an annual list of the most cracked passwords of the year, and it's amazing how many times you get 1234556 or password 123 and things like that. So if we were to put password up there and then do 123, it takes a month to get password 123. So that makes it a little bit more complex. But you notice that the shorter, like I'm putting in Ducky right now, and Ducky would be instant. Ducky 1 would only give me 54 milliseconds. Ducky 1 exclamation mark gives me 22 seconds till breaking. So you can see there's, as you get a larger, larger or more complex password, it takes longer for them to crack it. And that's because each one of your characters there in your password can be many things. It can be a lowercase letter, it can be an uppercase letter, it can be a special symbol like an exclamation mark or something like that. So it can be any one of a number of different, it's 2 to the 8th actually. So it can be one of many characters. Actually, it's not exactly 2 to the 8th because some of those 2 to the 8th in the ASCII table, you can't actually type. So it's going to be less than that, but it's pretty complex. So you have a relatively large number of things that each character can represent. So that's why as you have more and more characters, it would take them longer and longer to crack your password. So even if you take the word, let's say the phrase, I love long passwords, I love long passwords, you see that this will take you 23 million years to do. If I put an exclamation on that, then it takes 3 trillion years. Another exclamation mark, 100 trillion years. I think we don't have to worry about length at this point. So use security.org's how secure is my password to see how your passwords do here. See how they stand up to a brute force attack. So we also have password histories, and those define how often an old password can be reused. So password history policy prevents password reuse. So you don't want people out there that are reusing the same thing, because what's going to happen is, like, one of the good things about having them change it all the time is, if somebody finds out what it used to be, then they're not going to get hacked. If they'd written it down somewhere or something like that, and somebody found out what it was, or let's say that God forbid you lose your password information to a hacker and they put it on the dark web and somebody later on comes across it. Well, if you're reusing your password, at some point they're going to be able to get into your accounts. So you want to define a password history, to say that you can only reuse it every so once in a while. And password reuse, it's the act of reusing a previously used password, obviously. But the password history is going to define, if we take a look actually down here, you see password history, 6 passwords are remembered. So it's going to remember the last 6 that you use and not allow you to reuse one until you've had 5 other ones. So then we have password age, and this is known as the password lifespan. This defines how often a password should be changed. So password age policy limits the time of a compromised password can be used to access an account. But you also have 2 aspects of that. You have a minimal age and you have a maximum age. And the minimum age is really it's saying how long you have to have a password in place. So it actually restricts you from changing it so often. Why do they have that? Well, that's to get to keep people from abusing the password history. If they know that, hey, I like the password puppy, but I used that last time. If I put in 5 more, if I change my password to ducky, kitty, all these other things, really quickly, like one after the other, then I can get puppy back, within a short period of time, like today. And that's kind of defeating the whole purpose of having password history in there. So they make a minimum password history as well. So you've got minimum, then you've got maximum. So they don't want you to use the same password more than, let's say, 3 months, like it's state. We had a 3-month policy. So every 3 months you get reminders, you get emails saying, hey, you need to change it, you need to change it. And it's a pain, but it keeps you safe. So we're going to go in here and look at something. I'm not going to run the participation thing. I just want to point out something. So enforced password history, it keeps 6 passwords. And oh, by the way, this is for Windows systems. In Windows, the administrator has access to a local group policy editor. So when you look in local computer policy under computer configuration, under Windows settings, security settings, account policies, password policy, you don't have to know all this stuff. I just need you to know that it's in here. There is a place for password policy within Windows, and administrators, get to set this. So we do have a thing here in the registry for password policies, and we can set the password history to, whatever number of passwords we want to remember. The maximum age here we can set to 45 days, which is kind of, making them change it a lot. That's every month and a half. That's kind of odious. And then the minimum password age is 0 days. So that means they can change it as often as they want. So that's not necessarily a good idea. Then minimum password length is 10 characters. So you have to have at least 10 characters in there. There is no minimum password length audit is not defined in here. So I guess there's no audit on that. So password must meet complexity requirements is enabled. So it's going to have to hit all the requirements for it. Then you have other things in here to relax the minimum password length limits. That's not defined yet. And store passwords using reversible encryption. That's been disabled. So there's all kinds of things. These are Microsoft specific here, but a lot of these things you'll see in general policies. You'll have password history, password age, and complexity. So that's the types are going. And this is just Microsoft's implementation of it. So this is what you'll see out in the wild. And then we have authenticate. We have the idea of the password manager, which I've mentioned before. So a lot of people have gotten to the point where they have so many accounts that they can't possibly remember unique name passwords for each one. And it's, if you think about it, you can't really have, anybody out there has, if you look in your passwords for, let's say even Google, you probably have at least 10 or 20 things in there. I have probably hundreds going over years. So I can't possibly change my passwords every 3 months, remember them all for all websites. So you need to rely on another service. You have in your browser, like if you're using Chrome, you have the password manager within Chrome that you can use. A lot of people use third-party software like 1Pass. I use 1Password personally. I have the family version of that, and then some people use LastPass. But there's a lot of different products out there. If you're looking to get one, I know that LastPassword, 1Password, I looked up, and 1Password has not had any security breaches. So 1Password so far, knock on wood, has been safe. LastPass, which they also mentioned there, did suffer a major data breach in 2022. So yeah, so that wasn't good. So if you're looking for the better of the two, and I'm not saying either one is better necessarily, but 1Password so far hasn't been cracked. So the thing about authentication credentials such as passwords, they should be securely stored and maintained. And that's what password vaults and password managers do. They securely keep that. Some of these password managers can also help you detect, like, hey, this password has been in a data breach. Go ahead and change it, and it can help you. It can suggest strong passwords and things like that for you to use. So that's really convenient about it. Um, we've got account policy, mix and match here. We've got questions. All this aimed to help you understand better the material. Then we're going to talk about account types. So there's a lot of different account types that are used out there. The one we think about the most is us as a user. So we have the user account or the end user account, and that's just going to be something for somebody that wants to use a computer resource. We have another one called a privileged account. These are the ones that we have to make very careful use of. And if you're an administrator, let's say that in your job role you have the administrator privileges, and also known as root or administrative accounts or just privileged accounts. You don't want to use that all the time as your default. You want to have to switch into that mode in order to use it because you can accidentally mess things up, delete things, change things permanently when you're using things with privileged access. So privileged accounts, that's the administrator accounts. These are the ones that are designed for a system administrator. They give full authorization and control over a system, and you should use it for administering and maintaining a system's resources and users. So in Linux or Unix, we call that the root account. It's called administrator under Windows. And these are accounts with, like I said, great responsibilities and great privileges there, great powers. So you don't want to be using that as your default account. You want to have your regular account and also your privileged account. So then we've got shared accounts. Shared accounts, also known as generic or group accounts. They are used when you're maybe working in a group and you have multiple users that need to do something. The one thing about this is it's hard to, if you're sharing an account, and this is a general thing, you can't identify. Let's say that group account was used to do something bad, or somebody made a mistake and deleted something. You can't identify who it was. You may be able to find out what system they logged into and what time and things like that, but you don't have a clear identity of who it is. But we do have accounts out there that you can share. We also have the idea of a guest account. Guest account is used for a temporary user, somebody that has very limited privileges. You don't want to give them the ability to do destructive things, or you want to make sure that their accounts are locked down so that they can use the system in a minimal way, but they can't access things they shouldn't. And then we have a service accounts, and service accounts are very important. They're used by applications and services. Let's say you have a database system that needs to back up at midnight on Saturdays. You can set up a service account that's going to go in there and automatically log in. They're not going to be using the interactive login, the GUI or anything like that. They're not going to, type in username, password, and everything. They're just going to run in the background. So these are the service accounts. You've got them for all kinds of stuff. So database is one example, but there's several other types out there. And then you'll go and match up, mix and match, answer some questions, and that's pretty much it for this section. So accounts, it's pretty easy. You've probably been exposed to most of this stuff before. Have some fun. Go out there and look at secure.org and try out your passwords, and see how it goes. See how secure the password you use are. How your passwords. Check them out in here. See how secure you think it is. And one last thing, if you ever want to check and see if your email has been hacked, I'll show you my old company email when I was in a company for 26 years. It no longer exists, so it doesn't matter. So I can do a check on this, and I can see that it's been in 17 data breaches, and it gives me a history here of all the ones. And this is called haveibeenpwned.com. So you can look in here. It tells you when and the circumstances, but it also tells you the compromised data. They got my email address, they got my name, my social media profiles, and my usernames. Some of them are not as bad as others. This one actually got my vehicle details and my physical address and my phone number. That's not good. And passwords. That's really horrible. This is in December of 2020. And some of these you may not recognize. So data enrichment exposure from PDL customer. I don't know what the heck this is, but what's interesting to me is there are a number of services out there that are data brokers. So maybe they buy your information from other companies, but they may not store it very securely. They may not have good security in place. So somebody that buys your information, if they get hacked, you may never know it because this is a middleman out there somewhere is buying, user lists or whatever, and now they've been hacked, and your information is available to the dark web. So it's really good to go in here and check it out. Check out. I don't know about you because you probably have student accounts, may not have a a long history of an email, but check it out. See if you have been hacked. These things, yeah, it's nice to know if you need to be changing your password or if you need to, yeah, take some kind of action like look at your credit history. So anyway, that is it for this chapter. I hope you've had fun with it, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Have a great day. Aloha.